Have you ever read a treasure map? In movies like The Goonies or the classic story Treasure Island, maps are used to lead the heroes to the treasure. The maps are full of dotted lines, weird instructions like walk 100 paces due north of the rock that looks like a bird, and eventually you end up at a big red X. You get the idea. I bring this up today because we are talking about metes and bounds, which are land descriptions that follow the narrative of boundaries. They read just like a treasure map. A metes and bounds description of property simply tracks a path from a logical starting place to each corner of the property. It is often used to define large pieces of property like farms, political subdivisions like towns and cities, and properties where precise definition is not required or is too expensive. As a method of describing land, metes and bounds has been used in England for many centuries. It was exported to many English common law jurisdictions, including the original 13 colonies that became the United States. Of course, this was long before Google Maps and GPS were around. They didn't even have street addresses back then, so they decided metes and bounds were the best way of recording property boundaries. The system typically uses physical features of the local geography along with directions and distances to define the boundaries of a parcel of land. The boundaries start at a point of beginning and are described in sequence, working around the property until finally returning to the same starting point. If there are no suitable natural monuments to mark a certain boundary, it may be marked on the ground with permanent man-made monuments. Let's look at the definition of the two terms. Metes refers to the boundary defined by the measurement of each straight run between the beginning and end points, plus an orientation or direction. The direction can be a simple compass bearing, or it can be precise as determined by accurate survey methods. Bounds refer to a more general boundary description, such as along a certain watercourse, a stone wall, an adjoining public roadway, or an existing building. A typical description for a small parcel of land might say, beginning with a corner at the intersection of two stone walls near the peach tree on the north side of Stone Hollow Way, 1 mile above the junction of Stone Hollow Way and Armory Creek, north for 150 rods to the end of the stone wall bordering the road. Then northwest along a line to a large standing rock on the corner of the property now formerly belonging to Stephen Douglas. Then west 150 rods to the corner of the barn near a large sycamore tree. Then south to Stone Hollow Way. Thence down the side of the creek road to the starting point. The sequence begins with an identified corner serving as the benchmark. The description then gives distance, direction, and various boundary descriptions as if you're walking the boundary like a treasure map, pacing off the distance to the next corner where there is a change of direction. When creeks and rivers form part of the boundary, their meandering path is usually considered to be a straight line between the established corners and their monuments. In some deeds, the direction is described by azimuth, a clockwise degree measure out of 360 degrees. Other deeds describe the direction by bearing, which is a north-south direction, followed by a degree measure and another direction west or east. For example, a bearing might be listed as N4235W. The use of bearing in a metes and bounds description gives you the same degree measure, regardless of which direction you go. If you want to walk the boundary in the opposite direction, simply exchange N for S and E for W. In the previous example, N4235W becomes S4235E. And just like that, you are walking the boundary backwards. In many distance measures, especially those in older deeds, boundary lengths are listed in rods or poles instead of feet or meters. Rods and poles are both measures 16.5 feet, and there are 4 rods in one chain. To measure boundary lines, Old English surveyors actually carried chains that were 66 feet long and poles that were, you guessed it, 16.5 feet long. Many older legal descriptions of U.S. real estate are still given in chains and poles. Some courts have established a list of priorities to help with inconsistent metes and bounds descriptions. Starting with the most reliable, here's a list of the priorities given to different elements of a description. 1. Natural monuments. 2. Artificial monuments such as roads and marked or surveyed lines. 3. Adjacent tracts or boundaries. 4. Courses or directions. 5. distances, and 6, area or quantity. Once metes and bounds description have been established, the corners may have to depend on tradition and long use to establish the line along the boundaries between them. In some places, references to the official borders of towns, countries, or state may have changed. Compass directions must be verified because the direction of magnetic north and south constantly changes. A description might refer to the landmark like the sycamore tree in our earlier example, which could die, rot, or be confused with a different tree that looks the same. Streams can dry up, and man-made features like roads and walls can fall apart or be moved. As these features move, change, or disappear over time, it can make it difficult or impossible to determine the original location of a corner when it needs to be reestablished. In the metes and bounds system, corners, distances, direction, monuments, and bounds are always carried back to the original intent regardless of where they ended up. And if a corner can't be settled, well, let's just say that there are plenty of lawyers that specialize in real estate. Because of these kinds of problems, the US has largely replaced this system, except in the East where many property descriptions were already in existence before 1785. Beginning with the Land Ordinance of 1785. The U.S. started to transition to the public land survey system used in the central and western states. But that's a different topic for a different time. Until then, this is Joe with PrepAgent reminding you to keep it concise and keep it simple.